Hello and welcome to the Official Watches YouTube channel, here at Jardin du Mayfair, heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast. Today I have a very special wooden box. We love these wooden boxes down here, but before we get started, please can I just ask you guys to hit subscribe. Up to 70% of the viewers aren't subscribed, and it will make it a lot easier for me to keep these videos coming fresh and hot every week if the channel grows. So please do hit subscribe. Now, I'd like to say that I am fully aware that we don't have enough women's watches on the channel. So today, in official watches style, I am going to be reviewing the Patek Philippe Aquanaut 5072R-001. And I can tell you now, this is a very special watch. On the 8th of June in 1810, one of the earliest watch collectors, the Queen of Naples, that's Napoleon Bonaparte's sister, commissioned Abraham Louis Breguet to build her an oval repeater mounted on a wristlet of woven hair and gold thread. This was presumably to go along with the other 34 clocks and watches already in her possession from the manufacturer. The piece was number 2639 and it was the first documented wristwatch in the world. No images of it exist beyond its suspected appearance in an oil painting. However, it is detailed in Breguet's register of commissions, and there is a further note detailing its repair in 1849. In 1868, Antoni Patek, you might recognise the name, created a wristwatch for Countess Kozovic of Hungary, and it was intended as a jewellery piece and as such was intricately carved and set with a diamond centrepiece. Patek has the piece on display in its Geneva museum and refers to it as the first Swiss wristwatch, a subtle and faintly cheeky sleight of hand that succeeds only because the Breguet was likely made in France. In 1904, Louis Cartier made a wristwatch for his aviator friend Alberto Santos Dumont as a prototype that would eventually go into production for consumers in 1911. Despite the Santos, wristwatches for men didn't fully catch on until the First World War, when troops began to loop pieces of leather through wires that they had soldered onto their pocket watches, which were proving to be exceptionally impractical on the battlefield. Now, watchmaking for men really took off when the soldiers returned from the battlefields and continued to wear their trench-based creations. But for the century before that, sisters were doing it for themselves. Fitting then that today we're looking at a Patek haute jewellery piece created 156 years after the Countess Kozovic watch. This is the absolutely sublime Patek Philippe Aquanaut 5072R-001. Right, before we get started, I can't wait, so I'm going to get it out and have a little look. This is truly spectacular. Straight out the gate, this is one of the most captivating women's pieces I've ever seen, hands down. So above and beyond the fact that this is an absolute showstopper of a watch, the two very specific things that I love about it are: number one, in a rare turn up for the books, the addition of diamonds hasn't knocked the water resistance down from 120 meters. So it's not merely splash resistant, and I am looking at you other brands. And number two, it's a women's watch. It's a bejeweled women's watch. And despite these two designations, it's an automatic watch. So this is a proper box ticker. You have no idea how many times I've been excited to see a new release for the fairer sex, only to discover that despite the fur coat, its sturdy underwear is missing, and at the beating heart of the piece lies a battery. With so many women these days moving towards men's watches because they want to enjoy the same specs and tech, which is totally understandable, it's a treat to see smaller wrists catered to without conceding any ground. Especially as far as repairability and robustness is concerned, these should be exactly the same as their men's counterparts. Patek, you've knocked it out the park. It's a 35.6mm piece, but for ease of reference it wears very similar to a 36mm Datejust, so perfectly suited to a female wrist, and its beautiful secret is to showcase Patek's prowess at creating dazzling jewellery pieces for women, and I have to say they've proved their point with this one. The case is 18 karat rose gold with a crystal caseback and screw down crown that has been treated to a full mirror polish. It's bezel not brushed as per the Aquanaut norm and is instead set with 40 flawlessly cut baguette and trapeze diamonds amounting to 2.74 carats worth. Not to be outdone round the back, the clasp also features a further 10 baguette diamonds flush fit into the clasp. There is a further littering of diamonds on the dial which serve as markers around the minute track. You would think that given this thing has more carats than a donkey sanctuary, they would be the crowning glory of this watch. But they aren't. That accolade goes to the engraved mother of pearl dial, which is mounted over the top of an 18 karat gold plate. Now Patek describe it as a somewhat unappealingly two-tone beige, and while the renders make it look like a lifeless mauve beige checkerboard, I would urge you to completely ignore them, both the CGI and the off-putting description, because in real life it's beautiful. While there is a slight colour shift between tones, it's the result of the natural mother of pearl shimmer catching the light differently as it moves across the engraved planes of the globe motif. It's really quite spellbinding, and I would assume difficult to machine due to the delicate nature of pearl. Now the trade-off between diamond hour markers and the jewellery theme of the dial is that there is no lume above, and beyond a thick layer applied to the hands, this doesn't really affect low light legibility, as diamond markers do tend to reflect what ambient light there is available, so the watch remains easily readable at a glance most of the time. Running the show and visible through the rear caseback is Patek's Caliber 324 SC, which is the automatic movement found in most of the brand's sport pieces, with a date complication including the Nautilus 5711, Aquanaut 5167, Calatravas and some of its Auto 24s. It's the sturdy, reliable caliber which gives 45-hour power reserve, so absolutely there are no complaints here. The strap is absolutely stunning, and the quality that we have come to expect from the Patek Aquanaut range. I love the way the globe pattern matches the dial. I think that that is so cool. Now, I would like to see this on a navy strap as well, because I think maybe navy with the rose gold might tie in slightly better, but they've knocked it out the park and done a really good job on this. And fortunately, at 19mm, this Aquanaut does share the same lug width as some of its previous iterations, notably the 5067A, which has a comprehensive range of straps, including the navy that I mentioned above. So you could try out some other colours. Now, this watch is a 10 out of 10 showstopper, and I am delighted that Patek is continuing the tradition of jewellery pieces for women that not only look good, but share the same calibers and water resistance as their masculine counterparts. Bravo! So here's to not half-arsing it for our female watch aficionados. Well done, Patek, what a watch. Guys, thank you sincerely for joining me for another episode here. The channel is growing. I'm now posting double the amount of content. So please do hit subscribe and I'll keep these videos coming fresh and hot every week.